grab it by the haunches and hump it into submission.
You're done, Zach.
Oh boy.
Cool. I mean, if you need anything.
Holla holla.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
We're back in this.
Where you been?
Oh, just setting that up.
Oh, that's cool.
So, what's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. We're trying a YouTube live. We don't ever,
Is it working?
I think so. We'll see here. I'm going to try and pull it up on our end and see if we can see the chat. So I'm going to share this a couple places. For people just listening in podcast land, sorry.
I'm going to grab a couple more beers.
Yeah, you better do that. So I'll let everybody know. We don't ever really go live anymore, especially, we used to
just Patreon.
Yeah, we normally do Patreon. We used to do Instagram Lives back in the day. So I just want to post this a few places.
How's Ross been? I feel like I haven't seen him for a hot second.
He was going to try to come tonight, and then he got about 3 calls on my drive up here. So he's like, I'm not going to be able to make it. He is busy.
I bet.
Dude, that guy is just a workhorse, man.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going live here. Let everybody know on Patreon that it's not exclusive to Patreon, so everybody doesn't go wild.
Be good.
Nah, that's a great family we got there. Mm-hmm. We haven't done this in a long time, so I think it's time to just rock it and have some fun,
Yeah, why not?
Hell yeah.
So that's cool. Let's see. We got everything going on. What's up, everybody? Getting some people in here. We appreciate you guys jumping on. We got Austin in here. Judd is in here.
Hi.
We haven't used this like switcher and all that in here. So we got Mr. Cameron Dowd on the sticks over here controlling that. And I don't know. I think what I'm seeing is delayed.
It's delayed a little
Yeah,
bit. but
it's a little
all right.
delayed. So
Someone asked, can I ask a question about the shoot?
yeah, for sure.
Shoot your shot, bro.
And then we're gonna get telling some Buck stories here. I'm just gonna share this live real quick. One more place.
Do it to it.
Might as well, right?
Yep.
Then we'll get going.
Can we get everyone in here, or is it just us?
I think we're all in here, aren't we?
That is a substantial delay.
Is it that bad?
It's like 25 seconds.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there I am with the beer. What the hell?
Seeing your past.
What the hell? I was going to say something very inappropriate. I forgot we were live.
What was it?
Nothing.
Yeah, go ahead with it.
I'll tell you later.
Let it rip. You'll forget.
You're right. I forgot my boots tonight. I pulled a Doug.
Oh,
You did? Hunting?
Yep.
what'd you
do?
What-
Hunt
what
your
were you
shoes or
wearing?
your work boots?
I went and bought a pair of boots at the local Farm King.
You did, really?
Yeah.
Just rubber boots or what?
Yeah.
Because you
what
had your Crocs on, didn't you?
No, I just had my tennis shoes on.
I would have went with it.
I would have got a little chilly.
Oh, man.
And it was muddy and shit. Muddier and shit.
What a bummer. All right, let's talk. All right, me and a few buddies have never been to a 3D deal. What's a good amount of arrows to bring?
All of them.
15 hours. Holy smokes.
I mean, bring a pile, but I mean, you're only going to shoot crazy distances if you want. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. But more the better, right?
Some
Yeah.
steel targets that'll get you.
We might be heckling in the background a little bit, so you might lose one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're going to lose one arrow for sure.
That's a good point. All right, let's talk. So this
I'll
is
make sure of it.
this podcast will launch in podcast land at a later date. So please go and listen to it and support us there again. But we appreciate you guys being here in the live. We didn't really plan on doing a live. We just kind of were like, yeah, let's go for it.
Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. But man, okay, we're all here in the studio. Austin, what's up?
What's up, boys?
What up?
And what's crapping?
Judd, what's up?
Oh, nothing. I'm here.
Oh, hey, Judd.
Happy to be here.
Hey, Eric. Hey, Doug.
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
We're here too.
Happy to be
So
here.
we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of season. We're to the end of season.
Not yet. Not yet.
I mean, we're
We're
close.
coming down to the wire.
Don't ever count Eric out. He doesn't want to eat that chip.
When this gets released, it'll be over.
When this launches in real podcast land, this could be done.
There'll be a chip in your mouth.
But Austin's a gangster.
Getting lucky, tripping into him, I guess.
Negative. So that was the coldest day of the year still to date at this point.
It was
Cold ass day.
I think it was the first day that front rolled through. So it was like right when the conditions got really extremely brutal was about the time I was in the blind, kind of waiting on it, and just kind of going on a hunch, hoping to get lucky. But it ended up working out. So
I mean, I texted you that day. I'm like, you going out? Because I got off early, and he's like, yep, I'm going. I'm like, well, if the Lord's going, I gotta go. So I went out that night also. But even in the blind with the heater in there, it was still cold.
yeah, there wasn't anything pleasant about it.
No.
Those are the conditions you need. I mean, we sit around all year and wait for that late season day when every deer has to get up and move to the food, and
Dude.
that was the day.
Anybody that says that you don't work for it and you were out and killed that deer, and then they can suck it because there wasn't a lot of dudes out on a day like that.
Well, and it's all the hours that people don't see, I mean, I might have taken off, I don't know, 10 days the whole season.
Yeah.
When you're looking at over 3 months of hunting, we put a lot of time into this. So when it comes together, it's not like it's the third time we went out.
Right.
What
we've
we
been,
do.
Yeah, we've been waiting on that specific animal for dozens of sets. So,
I
Yeah.
wish it was a third time out.
yep.
That'd be nice. Sometimes it happens that way, and you got to
does.
take it when it does happen. But, dude, that's some brutal cold. I honestly was surprised you went, but
I was back and forth because the wind was absolutely wrong, but we can kind of dive into that as I get into the story. But
And the wind was screaming.
it was howling.
well, let's start this story like wherever this whole deer story starts, I guess.
Yeah. Well, this season I kind of dedicated to one big deer. There's a big deer on this farm that I bought a couple years ago, and I told myself, he's a good enough deer. I'm just not going to shoot anything else. I punched that first tag on a good deer. Would have been later November, and I'm like, I got one more buck tag here in Illinois, and I know that deer is still alive, and I'm just not going to shoot anything else unless it's him. So I hunted for several weeks. I was basically chasing a ghost. That deer, I had pictures of him in early November and then just disappeared off of me. I honestly think it was due to some hunting pressure. I do some leasing on that farm, so I have some hunters come in, and then I hunted it myself pretty hard. So I think we just kind of pushed him out, and he was staying on the neighbors. My good buddy that hunts right next to me was getting pictures of him pretty regular. So I just sat there on my farm all season long, just hoping and praying that he'd come by and visit one of my food plots. And
Yeah.
I wasted a lot of time, but I wasn't really wasting it because he was worth waiting for.
Yeah.
He was big enough
Well,
deer.
the nice thing is when you're doing it, you never know you're really wasting time or not.
Right. He could come out any second, so you never know.
You're never wasting time.
If you
my
did
opinion.
know, you'd never go. If you do, you'd hunt
Yep.
Yeah,
one
it's not
day.
that way.
Yeah.
Right.
And it wouldn't be fun if you knew.
But I thought that he knew my beans were there because I had a picture of him there. November 8th was the last picture I got of him, and he was right on the edge of my bean plot that night. So it'd been in the back of my head like, yeah, he's living 3/4 of a mile or half a mile away, but he knows that bean plot's there. So maybe he'll come back in the late season, but it just never
He
happened.
didn't hear that
never-
combine running over there yet.
Right.
He's like, them beans got to still be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
So, anyways, I passed a good buck on the north side of the farm, probably a mid-50s deer, really nice deer, probably a 4-year-old. But I knew this big 11-pointer was still in there, and I'm like, if it gets down to it in this late season, it's either going to be this monster or it's going to be this big 11 that I got pictures of because I know he's mature enough for sure. And I had pictures of him this year. I got my first pictures of him like first week in November, and just a hog of a deer, great big brisket neck. Just you can tell he's just a fully mature deer. And my neighbor had actually missed this deer the year prior. So he sent me all the trail camera pictures after I killed this deer, and it's kind of cool. You get to look and see what he was last year, but he was just a typical 10, but probably in the mid 50s last year. Score wise, he was about the same as he was this year.
Really?
Just a horse of a deer.
And weird that some deer just don't put on inches.
Yep. And I think next year he could have stacked on 20 or 30 inches. I mean, who knows
think
what
so?
he would have done.
Oh, but you never know. That's
it's-
what's fun about
Yeah,
it.
it's hard to say, but
Is anybody getting reverb and YouTube Live? Is anybody getting an echo? I can hear an echo.
I'm not.
I can't.
Not a bad one, no.
Oh, it's just me then. Don't worry about me. Okay.
But my neighbor sent me these pictures, and we got talking about him, and I had known this story, but last year he had this deer come in on him, and he was he's kind of starting to dabble with the traditional game, so he had his recurve with him, and Ray's a great shot, and he had this deer come in, and he was in between 10 and 15 yards from him, and he was in the moment, but when he went to draw his bow, and he said when he drew, his finger hit his hat, and just his finger, like normally, you know, he's used to it hitting the corner of his mouth and then his shot going off. Well, when it hit his hat, he let the shot go, and it shot in front of him and like went in front of his brisket. So at like 10 or 15 yards, he missed him way left or right, whichever way it
Thanks,
was.
Ray.
Yeah. So the deer went away unscathed on that one last year. So
Thanks to Ray's hat.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's get him a new hat.
So I thought that was a pretty cool story, just to have that little piece of history
That
with
is
the
cool.
deer, and just, you know, to kind of know that he was a mature deer the year prior was kind of cool.
Isn't it kind of neat knowing, like, how many deer have you shot that you wish you knew, like, how many times did they go by another hunter that either got shot at or they, you know, was in shot distance of another hunter and just like barely escaped something before
Or a
they got
hunter
to you?
missed them, or
Yeah, just
something
like
happened.
what do they do and what do they encounter? Like, I always think about that when you kill a deer and you're just like, man, where have you been?
Yeah.
Right.
And then you see like all the nicks and everything in their antler. You're like, where
you
were
doing?
you? What did you do?
What happened here?
You know, that's like cool to know that.
It is, yeah, and that's what's cool about working with my neighbor too, is we're really good friends, so we share pictures back and forth. So when I lose a deer for a couple weeks, a lot of times he'll pick them up and he'll be like, "Yeah, I'm getting or he'll send me the picture," you know. So
It's very valuable to know.
Between the two of us, we've got a pretty good idea what's going on in that area. So
And that's pretty cool too, because
Yeah.
a lot of people are not like that with their
Yeah.
neighbors. You know what I mean?
And honestly, buying that farm, I've become even closer with him. I mean, we're pretty good friends now, so it's pretty cool.
That's really cool. And man, like the things you can learn about deer
Yep.
from that, like you guys can really, if they go his direction, you guys can really know, like, okay, I put pressure on this buck, like hunting pressure, like you mentioned earlier, how much pressure is
Yeah.
pushing it.
And what's crazy is to see how fast they move. Like this 11 was such a roamer. I'd get pictures of him on my farm, and like 45 minutes later, he'd get him over on his farm, like 3/4 of a mile away. I mean, this deer was moving,
Just
and it
on the
was
move all the
and
time.
it was big loops, but it was all season long. It wasn't just like in the rut. Like in the late season, I'd get this deer on my beans every 3 or 4 days usually, but it wasn't usually 2 days in a row. I'd get him, and then it'd be like 3 or 4 days later, I'd get him again. But
So he's like making that loop
What-
3 or 4 days cycle.
Yep. And when I'd get him, my neighbor would get him. So it wasn't just like he was staying on my farm. Like when he'd make the loop on mine, he'd make the loop on my neighbor's. So it was
Wow.
weird.
Very
So-
valuable information right there.
You know, when you guys like get dedicated to a deer, it takes time, right? Like consistency, and then you start getting pictures, and then you're like thinking about that deer more. And this is where guys start to like claim the deer, and then shit gets weird. Or you can just hunt the deer and know he's a wild animal and he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But you start to get like, you have your target set, and then you start making game plans, and that's when you get invested, and you're thinking about it, and you're calling your buddies and running over game plans. Now that you get invested like that, knowing this buck, what he did, does it make you feel more comfortable with knowing deer movements or uncomfortable knowing that they move that much?
I think every deer's different. And with this deer, I'm like, I'm going to be pretty lucky if I get a shot at this deer, because he's not like living on mine.
'Cause
Like,
he's random.
He's living in a 600 or 700 acre area, you know, he's running.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if my timing's right and I get lucky, I've got the right food. I know that he knows it's there. I've got a good chance that he'll be there. I just have to spend a lot of hours waiting on him.
Hey, shout out to hit that like button we got in the YouTube. That would actually help a lot. If you guys don't mind just doing that little tidbit since you're in here. I know there's a handful of people in here now. That'd be great. Thank you guys for that. Appreciate you being in here. Sorry for everybody in regular podcast land. We don't ever do this.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good point. Like, they're sporadic, but that's also makes it fun. But then
Yeah.
it's also like the deer that are everywhere all the time on every trail cam are really hard to hunt too.
Yeah, they are. Sometimes it's better to have that deer that's, you're getting regular pictures of and the neighbor's not seeing him. But with this deer, he was moving a lot. So I had a feeling if I was going to shoot a big deer down there, it would probably be this deer and not the giant, because the giant I just wasn't picking up. But we talked about this on a previous podcast. Our good buddy Jordan Gensmer came down and hunted with me for it was 5 or 6 days. He came down and hunted.
Yeah, shout out to Pull Back and Let Go.
Yep.
Yep.
Hell of a good friend. And we went in. I brought Jordan in for this specific buck. I'm like, we've got several pictures of him on these beans. The weather's right. The wind's right. I like to hunt these beans with kind of a northeast to an east wind. And I'm like, let's just go in, first night we'll set these beans, see if we can get an eye on this big 11. And it was like 15 minutes before dark, and I put the glass up on him. I'm like, there he is, right there in the corner. That's the buck. He's like, are you kidding me? I mean, first night in, we'd been there a couple hours.
Oh, that was the first night.
First night for Jordan. Yeah.
Was that the wrapping paper night?
It was the wrapping paper night. So I'm in my box blind. It doesn't have any of the windows like tinted in it. And I don't like, nobody wants to be backlit. If the deer get out in the food and can look through the blind, they can kind of silhouette you in the blind.
Right.
So I took wrapping paper from DG from Dollar General and took some tape and taped up all my back windows so nothing could light me.
That's a good
Hey,
idea.
great
actually.
idea.
It's a nice, cheap way to do it.
It was like $1.50.
Yeah.
For the wrapping paper and the tape.
Yeah. So Jordan's like, holy crap. And Jordan, he's got some good deer up there, but he's like, that's the biggest deer I've ever seen. And this thing came in. I'm going to keep it short because we've already had a podcast on this, but the deer comes in to feed right at last light, just, the last 5 minutes of legal shooting light. And we range him. The deer next to him is 45, and he's like right there with him. And looking back on it now, I think he was probably a yard or two behind that deer. And Jordan shot low on him at 45. I think he's probably 47. And the deer runs out, and we glass him. And of course, we can tell that he's fine. He stood there for 20 minutes and just watched us with the rest of the deer.
Give you the middle finger.
Yeah. So we waited for it to get dark enough.
The middle hoof.
Yeah. Yeah.
We slipped down and kind of crest the hill where we're safe, and I glass, and he's just still with the rest of the deer looking. So I'm like, all right, we got out of there somehow without him busting us. So I knew that deer would probably still be using that food source.
Man,
Eventually.
what a bummer for Jordan.
It was. And when we left, he's like, that's the biggest deer I've ever seen, let alone shot at.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was a real heartbreaker for him, and I felt bad for him. We'd went in there with the intentions of killing that deer, and on the first night, everything came together other than just, being a couple yards off on the range.
It's a tough one.
Shout out to Pull Back and Let Go.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Think the horror drawer will happen?
I hope it does.
I hope so.
It's going to
They're
be.
probably like, dang it, stop talking about the horror drawer.
If you don't know what the horror drawer is, stop by Pull Back and Let Go at a trade show, and they'll have
Just listen to the podcast with Pull Back and Let Go a few weeks
have
ago.
a nice little panty drawer there.
For you lady. Hey, great idea. Well, that's a bummer for Jordan, man. I'd really like to see him kill a slob.
Yep. I was really pulling for him.
But he missed, and now it's Daddy's turn.
Now it's Daddy's turn. So
Hey,
Good for you.
hold my old fashioned.
Hey, yeah, hold my old
You
fashioned.
can't say hold my beer because Austin doesn't drink beer.
No, drinking one now.
He's
Right
got
now.
one now. He's got one now.
He's a changed man.
When I was listening to that, I had a question. Did you guys both range him with the same rangefinder?
So I was setting on his left side. He's right-handed shooter. He's on my right, shooting out the far right side of the blind. So the deer is 45, but he's close enough. It's kind of downhill. So I tried to lean up and range, and I couldn't get over the lip to range him. So I'm like, Jordan, you take the range. I was supposed to be ranging for him. I'm like, you take the range. We've got time. So he took the range, and he couldn't get on for whatever reason. He ranged the front buck. I told him range front buck 45, and in the heat of the moment, he was coming closer when I told him to do that, but the deer never closed that gap. And in the heat of the moment, we just lost it and just stayed on 45 where we should have probably, at 47 yards, that makes a difference. 2 yards makes a pretty big difference.
Yeah, out there it does.
I think
We
it would
got
have
that
been,
far.
it probably would have been enough of a difference to make the shot. But for whatever reason,
It happens.
he shot low, and He
Hat
ran
slap.
away up on the hill.
Hey,
I just
it is what it is.
I'm begging for people to like and share our live, and I said Doug's gonna mail out mustache hairs for everyone who does. So you gotta
I'll
get on
pull
that
'em.
tonight.
Wow.
Gonna thin her down a little bit.
Dude, you'd be all right. You got enough to spare.
I ain't
not that
shipping
many
them
people.
sons of
20, there's
bitches.
28 hairs.
Well, that's it right now. But I just asked.
Start taking some from somewhere else.
We could be pushing just over 6,500 hairs.
How many
hairs are
hairs
in
do you think? How many hairs are in your mustache?
We're taking bets now.
I don't
If you
know.
can guess exactly how much hairs are in Doug's mustache, he'll give you his.
Kurt's
bow.
gonna count them tonight.
Yeah. When you're reading bedtime stories to me, I'll read it. I'll count them all.
One sheep, two sheep.
That's
He
gross.
loves me. He loves me now. He loves me. He loves me now.
I'll pass on the hairs. All right. Dang. Here.
Pat, I can't
Well,
get
that's-
shit to fucking
Well,
Canada,
well,
let
that's
alone
too
a hair.
damn bad.
That's too damn bad. You're getting the hairs. All right. So Jordan misses.
Yep, that was mid-December, I think, when Jordan came down. It was like probably around
Yeah.
the 10th to 15th, somewhere in there.
For
Yeah.
Christmas.
So I kind of hung back. I was hunting around, but I wasn't hunting that spot real hard. Got several pictures of the Big 11 after Jordan missed him, and saw this mean front coming in, and it was nasty for about 4 or 5 days. Just temps in the single digits, wind chills in the negative 10 to 30, 40 below. I mean, just wicked nasty. We were supposed to get a bunch of snow with it, but the snow ended up kind of petering out, and we got like an inch or two. So,
It just blew from here to freaking
yeah,
Pennsylvania, I think.
it was December 22nd, and that storm rolled in, and I was looking at the forecast, and it was making me nervous because I had those good 4 or 5 days of that really brutal cold, and then the winds or the temperature was warming up, and DeerCast was calling it shit, and I knew that if I was going to kill that deer, it had to be at that time. And it was honestly kind of on a sheer laziness that I didn't go in. I told myself, it's going to be 30 below. I'm not going to set in a tree for this deer. And I kind of needed to set up a tree stand to catch him coming to the food.
Yeah.
But it was going to be one of those deals where I was probably going to bump deer going in to hang that stand because they're bedded right around, real close to this food source.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to try something that I've never tried before. This wind's going to be blowing so hard. It's out of the northwest, and that's blowing exactly to this trail where they're coming out into these beans. Like 30 yards, basically straight east of me is where these deer are dumping out into this food. So I said, if this wind's blowing that hard, maybe it's just going to dissipate my scent enough by the time it gets 30 yards away from them that they're not even going to catch me. I'm like, I've got 4 or 5 days of this right weather, and it's all northwest wind. It's all the exact wrong wind for this spot. So I'm going to do a little test on this first night. I'm going to go in and I'm going to hunt it this first night and see what happens.
Yeah, try it.
I was in that blind. I walked in. I was in that blind for 9 minutes. It was 2:00 on the nose when I got in, and it was 2:09. And I looked up, and there's a group of 4 or 5 bucks, and they just come screaming in as fast as they can. Like, there's no caution. There's no nothing. I couldn't believe that wind was going that hard. And I think they were just so sketched out with that much wind. They're just like, get me to the food right now. And if the harder I run, the less chances are something's going to get me.
Interesting take. Yeah.
I'll run a shot.
yeah.
You would think they'd be like super on edge, super sketchy with wind like that. These things were just like full bore
You think just
running.
the extreme temps are just like, yeah, just get to the food.
get
So
to
if
the
something
food
busts
and
us out the food, at least we got something.
I think it was the wind. I think the wind had them so sketched they just ran as hard as they could to get there. And
They were
I wonder
hangry.
too. I wonder if deer will do that. This is maybe kind of an out there perspective, or I guess theory. I wonder if part of that's just getting body temp up for a minute,
yeah, but they could have been laying on the bed all day and just froze and got up to move. And
because they got to get cold.
yeah, you'd think so.
I don't know how they survived
Not
that
not the
shit.
same cold as we get cold, but they got to get kind of
I
cold.
feel like about died just walking back to my pickup that night.
It was
Dude,
dangerous.
You
cold.
couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
No.
And that continue. We'll get into this.
So I forgot when I got up into this blind, like I thought everything was closed up, but there's just a few little kind of cracks where air can get into the blind, and it was blowing hard enough that there was like a little mound of snow inside the blind. So that just kind of illustrates how bad the wind was. Mm-hmm. And I get in this blind and shut the door, and it sounds like a helicopter getting ready to take off. Like I've got a ratchet strap that
Yeah.
right to the middle, and the wind blowing that ratchet strap was kind of like reverberating, and it was just like a howl inside of this blind, just like a roar. I'm like, well, I was almost nervous to open the window because I didn't know if it was as loud outside of the blind as it was inside. So I tested it on these bucks, and they were 15 yards and had no idea. I opened all the windows up and tested everything, and I could have done jumping jacks in there and they would have known.
So much going on.
Yeah, it's just so loud. That wind was ripping so loud.
One thing I do like, we have that grizzly blind, and I have it anchored down. It's like when it's frozen, I'm like, well, I know the anchors aren't going to pull because everything's frozen in the ground. That's that's like a comforting feeling.
And actually, I had the same thing because I have mine ratchet strapped to that gravity feed wagon.
Yep.
And
How do you like that?
Love it.
I'm doing that. I'm getting another one. I'm doing that.
Love it.
Cameron's
But I
gonna
had
hook
the
me up.
same thing with the strap. It was vibrating.
Yep.
I actually had a pull rope in my bag. So I tied the pull rope around the ratchet strap, ran it through the window, and I tied it to one of the knobs inside the blind. And that was enough pressure just to keep it from vibrating.
Yep.
It worked great.
The gravity wagon thing's a move. Do you have one on a gravity wagon?
No, but I'm going to next year because I've had, 5 different instances where I've only got like 3 box blinds and I won't be able to move one, and I don't. So next year, one's going on wheels.
It'd be your investment, your money well spent to where you can move it around.
So convenient. I went and hooked up to it, and I moved it probably 12 miles this year.
Yep.
Shout out to Pullback and Let Go. They're in here. Jordan missed the buck. I don't know if it's Jordan or I'm assuming that's Kelsey on here. Parker says, why does Doug look 12? Brandon
Interesting.
says, so Eric's eating the chip. Sad day. Zach Jacoby said, hey, Iowa season doesn't close till Tuesday. Don't give up yet.
Just give up.
Someone told you to pull your gooch hairs out and ship those instead. That's pretty funny. That's,
Who's going to fucking go get those things?
I'm just saying, you'll get some hair.
I was going to say that's an old trucker move. Put a twist in your strap. It'll keep him from doing that.
Yep.
Raw sauce on top of Doug's mustache blend this season. Meat sweeper plot. Oh, geez. Okay, well, back to business here.
Meat sweeper.
So, yeah, dude, that brutal cold, you have to be in some kind of blind.
Yeah.
If you would have been in a hang-on, like if you're out in a Novix,
I'm guessing I would have made it about 30 to 45 minutes.
dude,
lost a
that's
finger.
deadly cold.
Even in the blind, I didn't have a heater. I mean, it was -2 real temp when I got in the blind. It was freaking cold.
I had 2 heaters, and I was cold.
Yeah.
And
So-
you had the Fairbanks heavyweight jacket from Huntworth on.
okay.
It was a Fairbanks.
I have a hard
Fairbanks-
time remembering the names.
Yeah, Fairbanks has the hood.
Yep.
And
Had
that's
the
what you-
Fairbanks, and I had the bibs that match.
Yep.
I was actually running fingerless gloves, but I run the Huntworth pouch, the little pouch that you can put on. So I put a hand warmer in that.
Do you do the one with the battery pack?
I don't use the battery pack. I take an actual hand warmer and throw in it and put my hands in that. So I shot this deer in -33 wind chill with no fingers in my gloves.
That's pretty badass.
I mean, you can't test anything much more than that. So I finally found a way to keep my hands warm. So I like that system.
Yeah.
But I had on the neck gaiter, and then I had on the WCB hat, and then I had on the trapper hat with the fur in it over that, and then I had my hood on. I mean, so first thing I told myself with all this shit on is if I do see a big buck coming in, I got to shuck shit to get my anchor point
Yeah.
right,
Yep.
because I got so much stuff around my neck and my face. So that was like in the back of my head. If I do see the big 11 coming in, then I'm going to have to
You're going to have to suffer
rip
for
a bunch of
little bit.
stuff off. It's going to take a little time to get set for the shot.
Well, I do that too. I wear a gaiter when it's cold. That's brutal cold. But I always wear beanie, gaiter, or hat. But even the Huntworth, which one is it? I got it pulled up here because I wanted to make sure we didn't fuck up what we were talking about. This Huntworth hat right here. It's the there's the Chester heavyweight beanie. What do they call it? Yeah, soft shell. I'll wear that, and then you can wear the what's the I don't even know the rabbit hat.
Yeah, I call it like the trapper hat. I don't know what the name of it is, but that thing's sweet.
But it's good because that one's tight. Then you can wear that one over, and then
Yeah.
with the heavyweight gaiter,
Yep.
it's just like
You put your hood up over that, and it locks it all in.
Yeah.
I was toasty. The only thing that got cold on me the whole set was my toes.
how do you prevent that though? I feel like when it's that cold, you're just cold.
Yeah.
I've got
mean-
poor circulation in my feet, so in the first hour, my feet were cold.
I think you just do it as old age, or you get older, because now that's the first thing that goes. Or because I do the same thing with the
pouch.
the pouch,
Yeah.
and then throw a couple hand warmers in there.
Yep.
And they're golden.
Yep.
I got some new heated socks.
You like that?
Ooh, with the heated socks with the battery pack.
Yeah.
How long they last?
You can buy an extra battery for them, so they last all day.
Really? They're worth it, huh?
Yeah.
It's you only wear one pair.
Yep.
I've never tried the heated socks. I've tried the insoles that are like remote control.
I heard those have just been shitholes
yeah, I
from
can't
the
do it.
get-go.
Yeah, they did. They made my feet sweat, and then I get cold.
Don't do that.
Didn't Thermacell make those?
Yeah, that's
think
what
it was.
These
I-
are good because they have like the 3 options. You should just go like to the little warm, and then just stay warm all day.
Really? I'm intrigued.
I'll have to tell you I'll have to go remember what they are.
Yeah,
What brand?
I'm
or
willing to try anything at this
I think
point.
they're called Savior.
No kidding. All right. Interesting. Hey, I have to try them
they're
out.
pretty slick.
Yeah. So, anywho,
Anywho,
it was a good feeling. I got into this blind, and Eric was texting me wanting to know if I was seeing anything, and it was like I'd been in the blind 30 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I got $5 in the field right now, so it's a good sign. We didn't know if they were going to move or not in that storm. It
I
was
did
so brutal.
and I knew you were going out, so I'm like, oh, gotta go.
Yeah. So it was good to see that first group come in. They came in right down the trail. I figured they would. My wind was blowing directly to them, and not one deer picked me up, and they came right into the food, just like I wanted them to.
yeah, money.
So it was a good. So I sat there, I don't know, it was probably hour and a half, and deer just kept piling out, and a group of deer would leave and a new group would move in. So I don't know, I probably saw 10 or 15 does and probably 10 bucks. There was actually, it was getting late enough in the season, I was almost to a point of settling. There was a deer that I call the turd. He's like 7 or 8 years old. And this year, he was a big 8 last year. He was like 145 last year. Well, this year he's dropped down to a 7, and he might be 130.
It's kind of a perfect deer to shoot.
He's a big old deer. And I said, and I had a picture of that deer 2 nights before I went in and sat.
On the plot.
Yeah, I'm like, I know what's going to happen. The turd's going to come out at like 3:30, and I'm going to be forced to make a decision on him. Luckily, he didn't. He didn't come out. So,
The turd.
yeah, I saw a couple bucks that were 4-year-olds that I'd passed a half a dozen times. The same deer keep coming out, and for whatever reason, it was about 4:45. It was just about last shooting light, and all the deer cleared. I'm like, well, do I take this opportunity to go ahead and leave, back out? Well, nothing's in the plot. Nothing's going to see me. It'll be fresh for the next set. I know the wind's going to work. This northwest wind that I didn't think was going to work is actually going to work. So I said, no, if that big mature deer is going to use this, it's going to probably be in the last 5 or 10 minutes. So I'll just sit here and wait. And I could see the same bucks and the same group starting to filter in back around and come back through again. For whatever reason, they've been sketched down. I don't know if it was a coyote or just the howling wind or whatever, but the same group was starting to filter back into the beans. And they were coming right directly behind me. So I'm looking through my little wrapping paper. I got a little like 2-inch by 2-inch cut in it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking through, and
Staring through Santa.
I'm watching deer out of this little hole, and and they're coming right under me. I mean, there's like this little cut in the fence, and they're crossing like 8 to 10 yards right under me, coming right into the beans. I'm just like, all right, same group. There's the 2 bucks that I just saw, and there was like 15 deer came out right under me, and I'm looking, and then I just see a wall of tines coming. And he's like 15 yards. I'm like, fuck. That's him. That's the 11.
Yeah.
Like, no mistaking. You see that many times. It's
Right.
holy shit, that's him. So it's like 5 till 5. It's getting down to the last 5 minutes of shooting light. I'm like, okay, every deer has crossed. I'm fine. He's honestly still coming. I just took my eyes off of him. So I got my bow laying on the ground. I swing the window open. There's deer all around me. I just swing the window open. The wind's blowing so hard. I'm like, I'm getting away with murder now. So I just swung the window open. I had a little tape ball set up, so when I swing the window open, it doesn't like slam.
Oh, it's like
So
stuck to the window.
I already had a little stop set up, so I stopped against my tape ball. I reached down.
Good idea.
I grabbed my bow. First off, I'm ripping off all my shit off my neck, like rip my hat off, rip my neck
so you
gaiter
can
off.
anchor your bow.
Because I didn't know if the shot was going to be 50 or 10. I
Yeah.
didn't know where he was going to stop. So I'm not even looking at the deer at this point. I got the window open. I know he's probably directly under me and coming. So I grabbed the bow, checked the dialed, make sure the dialed sights rolled down to 20, clip on. I draw back before I even look out the window. I just draw back and I creep out the right window, and he's just head down in the beans at like 12 yards, quartered away. Just, I mean, absolutely fucking perfect.
Damn.
You couldn't ask for any better. than that.
Right in the center of the window, like everything was perfect, and he wasn't moving. So I'm like, well, I can take my time on this one. So I just get down, look through the peep, put the pin. He's quartered hard, so I put the pin like right in the middle of his body, like basically right on the liver, and just sit there and aim and squeeze it off. And it's like you play this shot through your head. You know, you envision this happening every day that you've sat for the last month. And the shot goes off, and I just see it buries up to within about 6 inches of the fletch. Perfect, right where I was aiming. He runs up, runs through the beans, and just stops right on the edge of the beans, like 70 yards away, and he's just standing there broadside to me. I'm like, did that just happen? Or am I like dreaming right now?
Yeah.
Like, you like look down at your quiver and there's an arrow miss, and you're like, okay,
It
that
did
actually happened. Yeah. So I pull up the binoculars and I'm looking at him, and I can see blood running down his offside leg, and it looks like the blood's like right behind the crease of the offside shoulder. I mean, just perfect. I'm like, fuck, he's going down right there. You know, there's no way he's taking that shot. And I stood there, and it seemed like 2 minutes that I looked at him. Well, looking back on it is probably 20 or 30 seconds. But he starts just kind of gradually walking up on the hill away from me. I'm like, how is he not going down? I just cleaned everything out from the liver all the way up to the shoulder. I mean, I know I took everything out.
Yeah.
And he didn't go down. He was basically making his way back to the timber with the rest of the deer. I'm like, well, I got a decision to make. You know, do I just let him go in, or do I try another shot? So I locked another arrow on, ranged him. He was 65, but he was still going away from me. So I rolled to 70, drew back, and keep in mind, this wind's 25 miles an hour left to right. I mean, it's an insane wind.
Yeah. It's not in your favor.
So and he's still walking at the shot, and I mean, you're not going to map at him when the wind's that hard. I could have yelled and he wouldn't have heard me.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do my best. The wind's blowing left to right, but he's walking right. So I just put it basically right on his vitals, right where I wanted to hit, and it was a fast shot because he was still moving. Took the shot, and when it hit him, I could see that it hit him back, like towards the back legs. I was honestly surprised that I even hit him, but I was just trying my best to get another arrow in him at that point.
You've already had shot him.
Right.
Like, you know, what you think was fatal.
Yeah. And I felt good on the first shot, but it's like, why not get another one in him?
If he's just
it's not going to hurt
He's
anything.
still in range, you know.
Yeah.
You got one in them and you know it's good. And you can get another one in them.
Yeah.
Why not?
Get another one in them.
That was my thinking in the heat of the moment. So I saw the Luminot kind of dancing around like it was, you know, towards his back end, and he runs into the timber, and I'm like, holy shit, that just happened. So I didn't call, I didn't text, I didn't do anything. I grabbed my bow, I grabbed my quiver, put it back on. I get down out of the blind, and I about died from the blind to the truck. I mean, the wind's blowing in my face.
Yep.
It was dangerous cold.
Eyeballs freezing shut.
That's how people end up missing, man. You get some random dude go for a walk and some shit like that, and then you just never see him again.
Well, I'd already been out in it for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, and
then
that's even worse.
You're cold, you know, your feet are froze. So I'm walking back. I get back into the truck and I'm hoping the battery on the old truck's not dead. Was my
Right.
biggest fear.
right. Yeah.
That was my biggest fear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
You got to get warm
I,
with that.
I
one.
threw my jump pack in my truck just in case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I get it.
the old girl fired up, and I spun around and got going out, and then I picked up the phone and started making the calls. And Ray was the first one I called, my neighbor.
Of course.
And I'm like, just got an arrow in the big 11, man. I'm like, can you go help recover? He's like, hell yeah, I'll come help recover. So you see who your real buddies are on a night like that when they come to help you recover a deer when it's 35 below. Mm-hmm. So Ray answered the phone, Ross answered the phone, and you answered the phone. And
I knew why you're calling.
Yeah.
You know how you have that feeling? I was sitting on the toilet using my dude wiper, if you want to know. And I'm like, Austin. I'm like thinking what time it is. I'm like, he killed. He had to have killed.
I sent you a text at about 2:30. I said it could happen tonight, and I hadn't sent that text maybe once or twice this year.
Yeah.
And I just had a feeling like it
Get
could
that
happen.
hunch.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I saw that call. I'm like, something died. You had that feeling when one of your buddies is calling you.
Yep.
It's adding up.
Yep. So we decided Kurt had to put the little ones down a little later that night. So we waited till, I don't know, what was it? Probably 8:00.
Yeah, just a touch after.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we all met up at my place. We took a picture with all of us bundled up, getting ready to go on into this extreme shit.
Yeah. Marshmallows.
Pretty good picture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man.
Bunch of Michelin, man.
Yep.
I mean, we didn't know if we were in for a quick recovery or a long night. We didn't know.
Yep. I was pretty hopeful. I didn't know how that deer had even made it off the plot. And then, of course, when you shoot at him the second time and he takes off running, you're like, well, fuck. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we left him 4 hours. By the time we picked up the trail, it was 4 hours later. And Kurt, I think you were the one that picked up the blood trail. I walked back to First Blood just to see how good First Blood was, and it was good. Tracked him through the snow, and Kurt had already been on the trail and
Yeah,
trailed
you
him
like
up into the
waltzed
timber
over, and
ridge.
I'm like, hey, there's like a lot of blood. Like, is there snow? I'm like, holy shit.
That fucking blood was probably frozen before it hit the ground.
But Austin
yeah.
was so concerned getting where the shot was, which
Yeah.
I get. And I'm like, the way you described it, like, this deer's dead. We walk in, I'm like, hey, it's not like, oh, there's some blood. It was like,
He was spraying.
it's like, oh, yeah, he came through here, I guess. You know?
He was
I'm like,
definitely
hey,
here.
Austin, hey. And then me, Ray, and Ross, I'm like, hey, there's blood. So we're like, we get to the, I mean, you just wanted to follow it. So we're like, and then you're like, hey, wait up for me. So I'm like, well, yeah, oh, shit. Yeah, you shot it, right? Yeah, right.
Wait for me, guys.
So we stopped at the wood line. And I don't mean like, so after this podcast, don't leave the live podcast if you're in here. Shout out to you guys still in here, by the way. But I filmed the whole recovery.
Yep.
So you can see some of the blood, but I didn't start until we got into the wood line. About 10
It's what
minutes
you
in.
want. It's an expandable head with a low exit. I mean, it's what you want. Like,
Yep.
He's going to dump some blood.
Yeah.
And it was in the snow too, which makes it even more fun.
It was a
It's the best.
Yeah.
bloodbath.
Yeah.
Blood in the snow.
Put him in a coffin, you know?
Yep.
Put him in a body bag.
Yeah, put him in a body bag. Yeah.
So it's
It
a
was
good
blood
feeling.
sport.
You know, when you don't know and you watch your deer walk off the field, it's nice to,
Unless you see them tip over, you're going to doubt yourself.
you do.
Every time.
Every time.
Every single time.
I watched my buck die this year, and he just went over the edge of this little hill, and I was like, "Ah, shit! He could have got up." It's like, I just
Shit.
watched him roll over,
Yeah.
you know. But I'm like, I can't see him from the stand. It's probably better to be that way.
Yeah, you know the shot's money. I mean, I could see the arrow sticking out his offside shoulder, and I thought it was right behind the shoulder. I mean, I knew the shot was good, but when
Right.
you see an animal, it's like, well, did I have a broadhead failure, or did it hit a
Yeah,
rib?
you
and
said
kicked-
something to me at one point. You're like, I just wonder, so cold that if the broadhead froze up and didn't open.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like metal on metal at 35 below, would it stick? You know, would it not open? I didn't know. I mean, this thing just took a
Guess it
shot.
could.
This thing just took a 10-ring shot and walked off the field. I was stressing.
My thought, I'm like, and when you told me that on the phone, I'm like, yeah, well, yeah. I'm like, nah, because it wouldn't have
Definitely
went all the way. It
possible.
wouldn't have went all the way through it if it didn't open.
Yep.
You know, it would have been like right into the soft
Well,
stuff.
But
You try
definitely
to-
possible.
You
Hey,
try to play back every
anything
like,
can happen.
possible scenario. So
Yeah, that's just a good example. But
Yeah.
that's also what makes hunting and shots and like recovery fun because of like analyzing and theories and experiences. So
There's
that's-
always that what if.
yeah, it's fun. That's
Yeah.
fun. It's
Yep.
a good time of it, you know.
well, it's not fun in the moment. You just want to see
No.
him fall over.
Yeah.
But it's way more fun now.
But on the blood trail, it was fun to see the blood. It's like, all right, this happened the way I thought it happened.
Right.
So we get into the timber, and that's about the time you turn the camera on, and we start trailing him down through. We went in probably 20 or 30 yards, and I'm like, oh, fuck, that's not good. We came up on a big bed that was just solid blood, but
Yeah.
there's no deer in it.
And by the way, up to that bed, it's just blood.
He's painting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bed was blood.
Yeah.
It was all blood.
I'm like, well, fuck, did we just kick him up? That was my initial thought, was there's a bed.
So in that recovery video,
You can hear it in
I'm
the
walking
video.
because I'm looking through the phone and I'm, trying to keep my hands warm at the same time. And I kicked a stick and hit you with it and it made a bunch of noise. And I think you thought that was the buck
Yeah,
getting up.
we're so bundled up,
Oh.
we get hit with a stick and don't even know it.
Yeah, you have no the sound of it is that's what it is.
I heard something and I looked down and saw that bed. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, this deer's been here for 4 hours and 35 below. How did this thing get up? But as soon as I knelt down, I'm like, this is froze solid. This bed's froze solid. He wasn't just in here. Like, this has been a
Yeah.
while ago.
yeah.
So we just immediately kept right on the trail, and he'd made it another 10 or 15 yards and tipped over in a ditch right there. He just 3 or 4 foot deep ditch. We couldn't see him. He was down in that ditch. But
Yeah.
it was
So crazy.
It was crazy, man. It was fun to walk up on him. That's honestly, out of that farm, that was the number 2 buck. Like, that was the second most. It was age wise, he's right there with the most mature buck on the farm.
Oh yeah.
Score wise, he's lacking compared to the biggest one, but I'd hunted my ass off all season, and I'd been looking forward to seeing that deer all season. Got to see Jordan, get his opportunity.
Got to see Jordan miss.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Sorry, Jordan.
Yeah, shout out to Jordan.
And then Jordan told me, he's like, "You're going to kill that deer." And then 2 weeks later, he come under me. But
You were right.
you were
You're right.
it was awesome, man. To have you guys there in those extreme, brutal conditions, like, I'll never forget that hunt. It was so
one of
cool.
the coolest recoveries I think I've ever been on.
Yeah.
There's a few late season, only a few, like real late season recoveries I've ever been on. That's one of them. The latest I've ever been on is it won't be on camera because it's too high. This buck my dad shot real close to the end of the season, January 10th,
Yep.
in like 6 inches of snow in the morning.
Oh, in the morning.
And I did a
That's
hang
cool.
and bang and a climber in 2003, 2002. And that was this buck was like, this buck might as well have been 200 inches.
Yep.
When my dad
Oh,
shot
yeah.
that buck. We were like, the fucking giant. Holy fuck, and like that's the buck. But that's like,
You remember that, though.
oh, dude, I slept in. I'm
Yeah.
not going hunting. Well, actually, I didn't even bow hunt. I hunted, but I didn't bow hunt at the time. My mom got me out of bed. Your dad shot a 10-pointer. And I'm like, let's go, Put on my old Realtree Advantage. Let's ride.
So awesome.
But anyway, like that was one of the most like memorable, I think, recoveries, relating to that one. That I've
it's
been
the
on.
most brutal day that I've ever sat in the timber.
It was so cold. I took a picture of Ross. He has a very dark, full beard, and it was Santa Claus,
White.
Jack Frost, white.
Frost, snow. Yeah.
We all looked
It
like we were
was-
from Jeremiah Johnson.
I'm going to post that picture, actually. I got a picture of Ross and I together, and of course, my beard's not like Ross's. His is just like solid white, but mine was pretty bad, too.
Oh yeah, and then we got that picture of all three of us, and we're just like, I love the picture because you can just see the cold.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Like it
so
doesn't
good.
look remotely fun.
And
Yeah.
it wasn't honestly that bad. We were moving enough that we stayed pretty warm, but if we'd have been out there another 20 minutes, it would have
If
got
that
cold.
buck would have died in the middle of a field,
Yeah.
well, we would have been able to drive up to him. But if not, it would have been bad, dude.
Brutal.
Bad. It was just another level of cold.
Yeah.
Like, it was the cold that if your car broke down, you're fucked.
You're in trouble. That's why I was stressing about my battery shitting
yeah.
down on me in the truck. I mean, you get in trouble. If you're out there for 20 minutes when you don't expect to be, you get in trouble.
How
Yeah.
fun it'd be to be out there and see, like, you guys probably like Bigfoot out there because you're so bundled up. Just three.
Dude,
of you.
everything
Yeah.
when it's that cold, everything's that you walk on, it's just loud, everything's brittle.
Yeah.
Like it's just not meant to be that cold.
Yeah. Your beard is frozen to the side of your face.
It almost feels like, if like Doug could just like rip his mustache off and not know it because it was so cold.
That's why I didn't go out.
We could put it in a shadow box and put it right here
So I
next to the
stay
deer.
inside when it's that cold.
That's a trophy.
The awkward silence.
Just waiting to see what you're gonna say. But no, dude, that was badass.
And he ended up being exactly what I thought he was. Big beams, big mass, 11 point, missing a brow on one side. Just a stud of a buck. I mean, big body. He probably lost 30 or 40 pounds in the rut. I mean, and his rut pictures are awesome. He's just all neck.
I love it.
Just a huge bodied animal.
Dude, right when you picked him up, I'm like, that buck's 160s all
Yeah.
day.
And if he would have had brows, he'd have been 60s.
yeah.
Yep.
Who was he? Almost 158.
157. Yep.
Yeah.
Just not built to score, but on my wall compared to some 160s that I got, he's going to dwarf him. He's
Oh,
just
yeah.
just a big deer.
That's that's the one bummer about measuring. Like, and I'm a measurer,
Yeah.
whatever that means, that's the bummer about it. Cameron's sitting in here running the sticks for the live. Shout out to Mr. Dowd. He's like, I got a buck a shot. I want to get it measured. But he goes, I'm a little worried that it might make me feel weird about it. I'm like, well, then don't get it measured.
Yeah.
But I'm for it, right? I'm in support of Pope and Young and Boone and Crockett and whatever
Yep.
measuring system. I think it's cool, but it doesn't paint the picture of what the deer really is.
No, I'll say this: my first buck was 148, and I stuck this buck like side by side profile next to each other, and it just dwarfs him. Just a different animal. I mean, they only score 9 inches different, but this deer looks 30 inches bigger.
Some deer just carry big.
Yeah,
You know, like
Every deer carries different.
yeah, they do. But you know, you take like a buck, like the Geyer buck, framey, right? You see it, and you go, "Oh shit!" Like you just have that reaction. Or you take a tight rack 200, like a 200 non-typical, and the Geyer buck coming at you in the same field. You'd probably shoot the Geyer buck
going
first.
with the guy
Right.
buck. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, framey is better to
Yep.
me, but I like tight and trashy is also cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Doug, you've been with a lot. You got a lot of tight and trashy,
I
right?
love all different racks.
Trailer Park Queens
Love
and
them all.
No discrimination.
hey, I'm proud of you. But
Pass one up, you never catch up.
but you know, like, what do you do when like score is just a number?
Right.
There's so many deer that
Yeah.
that really take.
That deer might as well have been 200 inches coming under me that night with those
With all-
conditions,
with all the
waiting on that
conditions and
specific
everything.
deer to walk under me. 10 yards. I mean, just insane.
I didn't see a single deer that night, but I knew because you called me after you called these guys, and I'm like,
Zach,
I mean, me and Austin talk, but he doesn't call me very often. I'm like, he's calling me like, oh shit,
he killed one.
he killed one for sure.
Yeah. The right food and the right weather, it's magic.
Zach Jacoby said he was out in a saddle that day. That's how you get froze on
That's
both
hardcore,
sides.
man.
Woof.
That's hardcore.
That's straight
Just
up.
get frozen to the tree.
I was
Yeah.
worried about my ropes.
You worry about your toes.
Yeah, worried about like just getting brittle and breaking off.
Dude, I'm not going to lie.
To
I'm
be
soft.
honest, that's straight up dumb.
What's that?
I'm soft. The older I get, after hunting under these box blinds, I'm not fucking with a tree stand anymore when it's 20 below.
It's
I
just
won't
no
do
one.
it.
I mean, who did? Like for how long? How long can you? Without like insane gear, it's just there's a line of being tough to say you did something, and then there's a line of like just stupidity.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it was dangerous cold sitting in the blind. That was hardcore enough for me. So,
Dangerous cold.
I'm not
doing
gonna lie, like
anything.
walking in, my stand was straight east, but the wind was coming out of the west, you know, and walking back the truck, I could hardly breathe walking back.
yeah, that walk back was brutal.
It was fucking brutal.
sucked the air
dude.
out of you.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
So I think for the mount, maybe we'll do the frost mount. We'll frost him
Ooh,
up,
that'd
get
be
him all
good.
bristled up
Yeah.
with a little bit of snow on his in between his rack, and
Make him
on
look
his
cold.
forehead.
That buck deserves that mount.
I think it'd be a cool mount to do that with.
Can you make him look like he's in like 30-mile-an-hour winds, just all his hair goes one side?
One side.
it just comes with a fan.
Yeah. His face is all fucked up because his wind's so bad.
I can't remember the taxidermy place that did that, but their jury shared it.
Yeah.
It was an insane.
They shared it like the day you killed that deer, or
Yep.
the day after. or
Everybody was out hunting in those conditions, so they reshared
It was
the
good
mount.
timing.
I can't remember if it was Kibblers or who did it, but
something. Old Barn will kill that mount.
oh, I
He'll do a
think-
great
I
job.
I told Sam what I want to do. He's like, yes. I
Oh,
want to
he
do
loves
that.
those projects.
Yeah, he does.
That's like you need a taxidermist that gets excited about
Yeah,
stuff.
they
Like,
want to do different things.
Not like, oh, fuck.
yeah, I got to do this.
This guy's
A lot of guys are like that.
Yeah.
You know,
I've got a lot of mounts upstairs. I'm kind of looking for something different every time now, and I'm running out of options. But that'll be a cool one to do.
Yeah, 100%.
a lot in the collection. You've got a lot of variety of whitetails. All right, let me ask you this: Are you ever going to quit mounting them?
No,
Never. I love it. I love that.
if
Dude.
I'm shooting like that deer I shot earlier this year was 148, he's going to get the pack mount.
Oh, cool.
Yep,
Yeah, good variety.
yep.
Man,
if it's a deer,
the frost mount, he's mixing it all
a
up.
little diversity. Yeah.
So how
Yeah,
how
mix it
long
up.
before you build a shed or like a trophy room? Like, you have a great setup now,
Yeah,
but you're
it's-
out of room.
It's funny that you say that because I think I've got about 1 or 2 more heads up in the man cave, and then it's full. Unless they just start looking ridiculous and I just start stacking rows in there, it's just not going to look good. So I'm kind of to the point now where I'm starting to think ahead.
So we're 2 mounts away from me putting up a barn frame for you.
It's exactly where I'm at. I'm actually starting to look at barn doe
So you got
plans.
a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
Okay,
a year.
okay.
Or he's got to add onto his house for more
Yeah.
deer heads.
So are we like, if you did that, are we talking like full blown Chandler party pad? Here it is, pool table, bar, all that stuff, and then
If you want to know my honest plans right now, it's probably going to be placed in Iowa.
oh,
It's probably going to be living quarters on a third of it and then shop on the other 2/3. But the shop's going to be clean. so I can pull equipment in and out, but it's going to be like my shop / pool table / bar / trophy room. So it'll be the man area.
So you're gonna move all your mounts there.
That's the plan. That's what I'm thinking right now.
How many truckloads is that?
But you also got to think.
Three semis.
You got to think. You got to think ahead as well, though, because you got a lot of hunting left to do.
I do.
So-
It's going to have to be
You're
a big
not that
shed.
old.
It's
Yeah.
a huge shed.
Well, in Africa and Alaska and black bear hunts.
How many whitetail mounts do you have right now?
Over 20. I don't know.
Can you rattle them off? Can you count them? Like include shoulder mounts and euros.
If I was counting euros, I probably got in between 25 and 30.
Man, I would have thought a lot more than that. I mean, that's a lot, but
But I don't have really a lot of small ones. Like my smallest deer is downstairs. He's 100 inches. And then I've got a 6-pointer that's almost 120. And then everything else is 130s and
Or better.
better. So,
I got a lot of deer from when I was young mounted that I don't regret. But like now I'm kind of like,
yep.
what the fuck do I do with it? I have them in the kids' rooms.
Yep. I'm to the point now where if a deer means enough to me for me to pull the trigger on him and kill him, then I'm going to get him mounted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I get that. Jim Burns always did that. It's like, you mount it? Oh, if I shoot it, I mount it.
Yep.
No, that's cool. I get that. You know?
I just love taxidermy. I like walking in and seeing 50 mounts on a wall. I just think it's cool.
I've always been obsessed with it. I remember when my dad killed this buck, I counted the days down to get that mount back, dude. Counted them down. Could not wait. And then I feel like that kind of like made me obsessed. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
feel like I just was infatuated with it.
Yep.
And I wanted to be a taxidermist for a really long time. And then I went to, kind of went to school. I did a course and stuff, but I don't know how much is too much. I'd say never enough.
Never
but-
enough.
Never enough.
But
You start doing things like the Africa trip and
how does
Moose-
Leah feel about them? I know she's cool with it, but
Yeah,
like
she's fine with it. She likes it.
even more, she's just like stack them in.
Yeah, she doesn't
Yeah.
care. That's kind of my spot upstairs. But like in the living room, I'm debating on taking my whitetails there and moving them back upstairs and then putting my Africa game down in the living room.
That'd be cool.
So I've got enough room for it down there. I could do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That looks slick.
What's your wife think, Doug?
She doesn't mind at all.
Sam's actually been like a really good sport about it. Like, you know, I wanted to bring stuff here to the studio and she didn't want to leave the house.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, her and I made a fit. I was getting ready to take the bear off the wall at home to put it here, and Ilame like basically started crying. I'm like,
Shit, you can't take it now.
and I'm like, oh geez, all right. Well, I'm glad you like it. You know?
Good
I'll
problem.
just have to shoot another one.
Yeah, Daddy, go get another. Well, then she's like, so I bought her a stuffed Gims buck. Dad,
Right.
are you gonna hang the Gims buck at the house? I'm like, how do you know this? It's like, well, I didn't plan on it,
Right.
but I will if you want me to. I guess you know what I mean. It's like,
Yeah.
ugh, break my heart, you know. But
Pull at the heartstring.
well, I want like in my soul, I want to bring all my mounts here, but I
Right.
can't have an empty house. You
That's
know
why
what I mean?
my house is empty. My kid don't get to see any of them.
Yeah, I mean, take some home.
I know I need to.
I mean, we got room here. Well, we do have room here, but we almost need to cycle some, you know. Like,
Well,
dude,
we got a lot of
Eric's giraffe is here. You guys could take your Nebraska muleys home.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of growing left to do. I think in
Yeah.
the next 2 or 3 years, it's not
Well,
going
it'll
to.
be-
There's not going to be a choice. We're going to have to start moving things around a little bit.
In 3 years from now, it'd be interesting to see what is in here.
That's why we bought the other building. It's just for taxidermy. I know someone asked that question.
Taxidermy. Oh, someone did.
Just like
Someone asked what the other building's gonna be for.
Just like us, Ace Ventura, the murder room.
the murder room.
This is a lovely room of death.
well,
Does
We need
this
to make
bother
that-
you?
We need to make that video
No.
of you doing it. The Ace Ventura skit.
That'd be good.
You can do it.
Love room of death. How many mounts are you into, Doug? Like, are you
Quick,
gonna
hit
get
the
everyone
switch.
mounted? Will there ever be a time where you're just like, nah, I'm good?
I'm like Austin. I think if I shoot it, I'm gonna mount it.
Yeah, for sure.
Feels right.
It's a respect thing. I think if you're going to take that animal's life, he better mean enough to you to
Yeah.
spend $500 on him and get him mounted.
Yeah, take its carcass and put it on the wall for eternity.
Exactly.
The ultimate respect.
Respect.
No rest in peace in this place, bitch. You're looking alive forever. No blinking. No, I know what you're saying.
No blinking.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I do.
That could be
I do agree
I
with
see
you.
a T-shirt idea.
Yeah,
there.
it's a T-shirt.
No
for sure.
blinking.
No blinking for the rest of your life. It's just a deer mount.
Staring
Wow.
contest. Me and you go.
Staring contest winner with a mount. I like that.
Have you ever seen that
World
when
champion.
Will Ferrell does Robert Goulet? He's like, you don't even blink, do you? Oh, look, a bighorn.
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
taxidermist bighorn.
Yeah, you don't even blink, do you? Quick staring contest, me and you. He's feeding it like something out of a bowl. I don't know. What about you, Eric? How's your old lady feel about the dermy?
I mean,
The
she never
taxi.
said anything about it. I mean,
Yeah, it's good. We all got. They're all on the
Yeah,
program.
yeah.
Judd, what about your wife?
She's not a fan.
Dude, fuck her, man. She don't like it, huh?
We live in a birdhouse, man. It's 600 square feet.
that's how my old house was because it was like I had 3 mounts in there, and the whole living room was 3 mounts, and that was it.
Yeah.
So she got kind of sick of them then, but when we moved to the new house, she's like, okay, this is a lot better because we could spread them out a little bit.
I'd have to look through the antlers to see the TV in the living room.
Really?
Yeah, it's small. I feel
Yeah.
like I should put a fence post out the front of it so it looks like a place a bird would land because it
It don't
fits
feel like
the
your
bill.
house looks that small, man. I've been to your house.
It's dinky.
That's all right though.
600s. That's not very big.
No, it's not. There's not a stitch of insulation in it. I've been meaning to fix that for a while.
Oh man, it'd be cheap if you could get that fixed.
Right.
Put solar panels on it, you'd be living
Exactly.
totally free.
Hey, Beat it with a candle.
Hey, more deer heads. That's insulation.
It is, yeah.
You got your deer head actually here.
It's here, yeah. Yep.
We got a lot. How many heads we got here? In the studio, we got. Do we count euros or we just counting shoulder mounts?
Everything.
Let's do euros.
All right, you want to count them too?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the studio. What do we got out there? Out there.
Field trip.
Hell, I don't.
Cameron's gonna count real quick. How fast can you
How
count?
fast can you count?
Euros and everything.
It's just fun. The more you stack in, the better it looks.
I have one.
I like the respect aspect of getting them mounted, but I really like a Euro because I just like to handle them.
That is
How many we
fun.
got? 27 out there.
Nice.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a fast. Plus there's 4 in the bedroom.
Oh,
Over 30. Cool.
Yeah, and then at home I have.
I have 6 at home.
It's hard to count them all up on the spot.
I have 23 at home. 23 at home and a full mount turkey. And we have a full mount turkey here.
That's a lot of mounts. How cool would it be to get all the working class boys, get Ross and Clint and all of us, and throw all of our shit up on a barn?
Pull a barn down.
Man.
That'd be a picture.
Like one of them
Johnny
like
got a big enough
iconic.
barn.
Yeah,
We need a silo.
the barn picture.
Yeah.
Ooh, God, that takes so much
Fucking
work.
I've got the
100 by
barn.
200.
I would never want to do the work.
I would have said bring.
Yeah, I've got full body mounts. I don't want to move.
Just Photoshop those in.
It would take a ton of work.
You know how many
man.
screws
That'd be
we'd
a-
have to get?
That'd be a whole weekend. It'd be a 3-day weekend there.
Oh yeah, you have to leave some overnight hanging.
Rent a man lift.
Dude, that picture would be insane.
Gotta get a fucking JLG out there, 120 footer.
You would. We had to rent one from a.
Ross has got a bucket truck.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, good call. We had to get that out
Are
there.
we doing this?
Oh, dude, I wouldn't
Holy
even wanna.
fuck.
All the deer we've ever killed,
Shoulder mounts only. We could do it if we didn't have to move.
even
like
if we
full
just
bodies.
did the last 5 years.
Well, you could put the full body by you, right, on the ground.
Yeah, but I don't want to take it up and down my stairs.
Yeah, we're
Just
not
cut
doing
the
that.
head off it and come back and wood screw it back together.
That's a good call.
Take a chainsaw to it and cut the head off.
I'll just rip its
Milwaukee
legs off and
saw.
throw it out the
We'll just
window.
we'll start at the kneecaps, and we'll do it from there.
Hey, I'm getting a replica done of it. I'll just bring the replica.
Okay, you just hack the head off like a shoulder.
Throw it out the window.
But Ross would have to do it with
On like a mattress.
2 of them.
Ross got 3 200-inch deer. The dude's pulling almost Mark Drury numbers at this point.
Yeah. So rookie numbers.
Who's got the
Need to
most
bump those
200
numbers
inch
up.
like real deer?
Well, Josh Bomar's coming up there now.
That's a good point.
He's got 6.
6?
He's got 6.
Dang.
200 inchers?
Yeah.
Son of a bee.
Yeah. He's got 6. I don't know if you count Spook or not, but Spook's
No,
got like
no.
fucking 20 of them.
Watch these comments blow up.
The verdict's still out on Spook. I don't really know. I'd love to know.
You got Mark. You got Stan Potts. You got some heavy hitters in there. Adam Hayes.
The Potts has got a handful. He's got 3, don't he?
He's got
The
4,
Potts.
I think.
I feel like a lot of guys get like, I can't talk. I'm not talking shit, but the greats, I feel like it's like 3 to 5-ish is like the.
Oh, yeah. If you shoot 3 200s, it's not an accident. Like,
Right.
You know
No,
what the
no,
fuck you're
definitely not.
I wish I could do that.
I'd take one.
You gotta
Yeah.
find one. That's the thing. It's
They're
hard to
tough,
find
man.
one.
I'm finding 80s and 90s, but can't find any 200s.
Son of a bee.
I wish I could find a fucking 140 incher right now.
Touche, Eric.
Hey, just saying.
Hey, we do too.
But that's the thing. I think a lot of people are like out of touch with what kind of caliber of deer we have running around. Like, I ended my season with a 157-inch deer, and I was fucking jacked to do it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
We don't have 180s running around
No.
on a regular basis.
No.
I mean, it's just
That's rare.
you see them every once in a while. Every few years, you might see one, but it's not a regular thing to see a booner.
C. James 281 sounds like the cover art for episode 600.
Oh, sheesh.
Man, I'm telling you, that'd be really cool. But son of a bee,
That'd be a motherfucker.
it would take so much work.
I did the barn picture in 2012, right after I shot my first double drop. I had
did,
like,
really?
I had like 15 or 17 or whatever
I
it
bought it
was,
my
and
parents'
stacked them all up. It was pretty cool.
Pretty good.
The red one?
Yeah.
That wouldn't hold them all.
Maybe. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't.
I've got the barn. I got a barn that'll hold them all.
That's a ton of weight on the side of a barn.
It'll hold it.
You're confident.
It'll hold
I've
it.
got a massive.
You're asking the fucking barn expert here.
The barn man.
We'd have to stack them in tight,
yeah,
but
we're
I got a
gonna,
barn
like-
that'd hold them all.
I need like 10 people to help us.
Could you imagine though?
Quit talking about it because we're gonna end up doing it.
transporting all them fucking deer heads.
Keeping them
Dude, it would
safe
be
while
so
you're
epic.
hanging them.
We would need like 5 enclosed trailers.
No, I'm good. Hey, let's just take pictures of them all on the wall.
Photoshop them
I'll
together.
Photoshop it, and then it'll look really cool.
It'll look really like shit.
It look very flat,
Very flat.
but
God, you'd go insane staring at that, trying to get around the mountains.
navigate.
Oh,
I'll just
eyes
get
would be
some
hurting.
giant calendar picture of a side of a barn and just get us all like tough looking. Like, check out all these 120s I got.
It's a fucking barn from Argentina.
Look at that one's a piebald up in the corner.
they're not even our deer.
Spray painted.
Bored.
Yeah, it's like, check it out. That's a
You just Google search barn picture and like just stole someone else's deer.
yeah, could, you know. I don't know. Some are just so poorly done. They're just so tacky looking.
If you're gonna do
And
it,
they're
you gotta do
always
it right.
like,
Mean mugging.
yeah, it's like, would you fight all the deer? Yeah,
Killed them with my bare hands.
it's like, hey, easy.
Me and my truck.
So yeah, I see some weak ones in there. It's not gonna be too cocky, you know.
What's that little guy doing?
I know you got it mounted. Maybe not have brought that one to the barn, you know.
Someone just said I got a semi.
What's that? Oh, RJ. I got a semi. Oh boy. Well, should we go through some Patreon or not Patreon? Some live.
Is there any questions in there?
I
I'm gonna
named-
take a piss first.
I named this the worst live WCB podcast. I should have like done something more. Thanks for being in here, everybody. Going back to the cold stuff. Grab some Arctic Shield boot covers, boys. Lifesavers.
Those do work.
I've
Got
heard
some
good
of those
things.
off Camo Fire for next to nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Throw a couple hand warmers in there with them.
I think it was like $18. It
Oh shit!
was crazy.
Don't do what Lee did.
Dominic's got a good one there.
I was gonna wait for Austin here.
Yeah.
So did you hear the Lee story on those Arctic Shield boot covers?
This is a good one.
So he bought these fucking Arctic Shield boot covers. He goes, "These things are the biggest waste of money ever. I bought the XLs and they don't fit over my boots." So he's in this fucking ground blind with a little buddy heater, and he takes his boots off and puts these things on with some hand warmers in there. And a couple days go by, whatever, and I'm talking on the phone. I'm like, "Hey, like I have XLs, like I have size 11, like they fit great.
Yeah.
What'd you do?" He goes, "Well, I'm a fucking idiot."
Didn't take the packing out of them or what?
No, I guess they make like house slippers. So he bought the XL house slippers for his fucking shoe to go over his boots. Obviously, they're not going to fit.
That's incredible.
Well, didn't he go up to the guy that was work? I don't know. He's at like Tyson's or whatever.
Oh, I didn't hear this part.
Oh, you didn't hear this part? No, I thought this was part. Maybe he doesn't want me to tell this on the podcast.
No, do it anyways. Who
Yeah,
cares?
fuck him, dude. So I went up to the guy, and the guy was in a wheelchair, and he was like, "Hey, man, do you know where these like boot warmer things?" He's like, "I don't know, I can't walk."
I don't know. I can't feel my feet.
And Lee was like, he goes, "I'm just messing with you, dude. They're over there."
That guy's hilarious.
He's like, "Oh,
That's the guy you want.
yeah." It's like, thanks, man. Couple questions. Brandon said, "Great job on that cold as fuck buck. Lord on Buck or Buck Daddy. Lord or Buck Daddy. Buck Daddy sounds cool.
Lord Daddy.
Lord Daddy." Dominic asks, "What was your food plot setup? How did you access it without getting seen? I was climbing in my blind and saw a deer stand up almost 200 yards into the timber and run away. Saw a deer stand almost 200 yards up and run away." How'd you get into your blind? That's the question.
Well, honestly, this bean plot was kind of an afterthought. So I went in and I planted my big tine, and we didn't get the rain that I wanted. So the big tine came up, but it was like a couple inches tall. It wasn't the big, lush, big tine plot that I was expecting there. So when I was combining, there happened to be beans on the farm that year. And I just thought, well, I've already got the blind set here. You know, maybe I'll leave some beans here in hopes that if they're not hitting the big tine, they'll come out and they'll hit the beans. So I just left a swath that was, I don't know, 50, 70 yards wide by 80 yards to 100 yards long. I don't know, a third of an acre probably. And luckily I did that because they would come out and hit the big tine, but like when it got really cold like that night, they were in the beans. So luckily I left that swath of beans there. As far as getting in and out, that setup's going to get changed next year because I was getting picked off going in and out. Luckily that night there wasn't any bedded right on the edge of the food, so I got in without bumping anything, but I have been bumping some deer going into that spot. So it's going to change next year. I'm going to redesign that area and do some screening and be able to sneak in and out with the right wind.
Gonna build a garage with borderline.
Exactly.
I like it. C. James 281. I still think the giraffe should go full body mounted, head through the ceiling up to the second floor, coming out of the floor upstairs. We don't have it upstairs, but that's a great thought.
I told all my neighbors I was going to have it coming out my roof and just put a plexiglass box over
A bubble.
his head.
It's a little bubble over it. That'd be awesome.
It would be.
Nobody knows the guys with the most 200 inchers. That is a good point. There's dudes out there with more than 10 probably, and no one knows their name.
Yep.
Yeah.
But also, I get it. Does Doug drive from Iowa every podcast?
Eric too.
Yeah.
Yep. We both do.
It sucks.
Does Doug get to bring his mom's deer for the picture?
We don't have enough room for all that.
Eat shit.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Who said that?
He's coming for you.
I love it. Well, boys, it's a good podcast.
Yep.
Thomas.
Thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah, YouTube Live. We don't do it often. Maybe we'll try to do it more often. This was pretty easy once we have everything set up and I cussed and kicked cords around for a bit. But sometimes you got to do that, you know?
That's right.
Sometimes you got to do that.
Shit happens.
Sometimes you gotta throw stuff.
Hey, kick some cords. You know?
Just don't kick the wall.
Maybe we'll try and do this more often, you know? Maybe a couple times a month. Kind of fun. The bad thing is like we're pre-recording, right? So this is like down the road, but by then you'll forget about all this and you'll listen to it again. But there wasn't that many people in here, but there's a good fair amount. So we appreciate you guys. So if you're in here and you haven't liked the live, please get in there and do that. Much appreciated. Our YouTube is weak AF.
We need to grow our YouTube, people.
Yeah, YouTube sucks. It's only just because we don't know how to do it.
Why the last 4 comments just shitting on me?
Well, Doug, listen.
Doug can't count either.
We do have a semi though.
Oh, you do only drive here
Yeah,
from
your
Iowa.
dad does, but he hates you.
Oh God, he does.
You do only drive here. Remember that one time you forgot we were doing a podcast?
It was never confirmed when we were doing a podcast.
Yes, it was.
It was Thursday,
It was-
wasn't it?
It was 100% confirmed that we were doing a podcast.
No, it was never confirmed.
Doug's like, I could reach out because we do it every week for the last, how long have you been on? Nah, I'm good. I like girls more. What a idiot.
He was thinking.
idiot.
He was thinking with his other head. If you know what I'm saying.
Hey,
Does it have a
Doug.
mustache too?
Damn, the womb broom is what you call that one.
Do you have 2 mustaches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other
No,
one's
I
bigger.
don't. Just one.
Just one mustache, huh?
That's all you need.
Do we want to product launch something right now?
You want to do it now?
Might as well
All
do it
right.
on the live.
You got it here.
Go get it, Eric.
I don't know. Where's it at?
Right behind the bar.
Okay.
Exclusive.
BRB.
Exclusive. Hold on. Yeah. I want. Yeah. How you doing, Doug?
I'm doing great.
God, I hate that thing. I need to do
Look what Eric did to his chair.
a better. What is that? Oh, yes. Fucking cockaburs on there.
Yeah, it's a bunch of shit.
Party after the Iowa Deer Classic. Probably.
We always party after the Iowa Deer Classic.
Yeah, we'll party somewhere. How many shed bucks are you guys seeing? I've only seen a couple.
I've seen one on each property, at least
Seen
one
one
on each
tonight.
property.
I've seen
They were gonna
two.
need
On the hoof.
Mr. Dowd. We're gonna need that camera on Doug's face.
Can you zoom in on me?
real close.
He can't zoom. He doesn't have zoom capabilities.
Okay.
But if you really focus on that camera and make eye contact and show the product,
You could do your spiel and then walk up to the camera and get it real close.
Okay. Or you can hold it up to the camera while I talk.
no, you hold it.
Okay. All right, guys.
This is your brand.
No pressure.
We got a very special new product coming out. It's going to change all your lives for the better. Hopefully. Most likely. 99% chance. But you're going to look better. You're going to feel better. And your mustache will look amazing.
Give us the rundown. Hold on, first show closer to the camera.
You got to
Give it
just
here.
hit it.
You're the worst
Just
fucking
put it
Billy
up there. I'm
Mays
trying
of
to
all
talk
time.
it. But there's more. No, that's it.
Billy Mays.
But wait,
How's that look?
With 3 easy payments of $3.
It's been tested and it works. Have you tried it, Eric?
Yeah.
Have you tried it?
I have not.
This one's been used.
Whoops.
It's organic.
Does it
It's
smell
organic
Smells like Doug.
and
All right, for people who are listening in podcast land, let me do a better plug on your own product than you do.
well,
You sad, sorry bitch of a man.
I should have wrote it. That was mean, but I should have wrote a
That was a little over the top.
That was me.
I should have wrote a
Hey, it made you guys
Hey,
laugh.
hey. Now you sound like Doug's dad.
You just do that to people. You make us
just
bother you, then regret it.
All right, it's not just for mustaches.
I just bring out the hating people.
I hate
Look
your
at
heart,
Doug.
let it out. All right.
Jesus Christ.
All right. No, this is for real though. It's Doug has his own line of mustache wax coming out, but it is legit organic American made product. It's a real product. It seems like a joke, but it's real.
Made in Wisconsin.
And you've been using it.
I've been using it, and I have been reaping the benefits.
What benefits?
I can't say that.
To be determined.
I put it on.
Show us how. What? Give us the rundown. How do you use it?
Give us a tutorial.
We gotta
you wanna
we gotta
take
have the benefits in the
So
description.
the,
of
the
store.
lid, the cover is Doug's all natural, scent free, working class bow hunter mustache and beard wax balm. It's more of a mustache wax. It's a harder balm.
Someone asked if it's Bush Light scent. Most of the time because you're drinking Bush Light.
That's just the smell of your upper
It
lip.
just mixes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just breathe.
Yeah, and if it smells like shit,
So what
take
I
a
do,
shower.
I'm a thumb guy, so I like to get the thumb in there. You know,
Oh, you full thumb it, huh?
just right in there.
I wanted to
take
use
it.
some, but not now.
Nice and easy, and just
Interesting method.
Left side. A little more.
So you're using your
Right
finger
side.
to get the wax warm, and then
Yeah.
applying that.
you want to get it nice and heat it up a little bit.
Warm it
'cause
up.
If you don't warm it up, it's not going to do anything.
Does it work on your bowstring?
It probably does.
I bet it does.
Holy shit! I didn't even
Goddamn.
think about that.
Great. Good thing you're here, Jed. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I want to touch it now, but I'll give her a go.
I wash my hands.
Yeah, we're friends.
Does my mustache look better?
I'll go-
Listening.
I'll go over-
Glorious.
It's like a turkey call. You got to go on the unused spot over here. I don't really have much of a mustache anymore. I just shaved off my biker stash.
Does it look better, Eric?
No comment.
Yep.
Yeah, go fuck you.
Yeah, I'm getting
me
laid
see it.
later for sure.
Yeah, you are for sure.
It's a good product.
Sam better watch out.
Shout out
great
to the
product.
Antler
You
Shed
You do that
for
with your thumb.
making this for us. This is
What
like
do
a
you do?
co-brand deal.
I do a little different. Like
I always
you dig it up
got
with
my
your-
Ooh, he's
finger,
getting a big old chunk.
and then I always got it like
Well, you
what
do
he's
that, then you warm it up because I got a beard like a fucking man, so you gotta get a little bit more than a fucking mustache.
Well, that's debatable.
Then you heat her up, and then you.
doing. Rubber end, nice. Yeah, that's the move right there.
Yeah, you got to get it in there.
So you use it more as a balm,
No, wax.
Nice and deep.
the full blown beard wax.
This is a wax, not a balm.
Well, if you get it warm enough, it's a balm.
A balm is like, if you have an actual balm, it's like not a liquid, but
Kind of foamy.
it's not hard.
Yeah.
Someone said I gotta bring my dad on now. I think he will come on a podcast. Him and my mom.
Let's line it up.
Marv, we'll
Yeah.
just hate on you the whole time.
Do I gotta call him?
No,
Hey, listen, Doug won't schedule you, so
we'll schedule it.
I'll call him
yeah, we'll have to get that done.
and just not invite Doug.
That'd be the best.
He would hate on me for sure.
Doug would forget about it.
Yeah, he'd be doing something else. How do you feel about your product, Doug? Are you proud of it?
I am proud of it, and I think it's gonna go places.
Okay.
I think we need to make a good commercial for it though. So-
Coming to a trade show near you.
Oh yeah, it'll be to every trade show, and I'll sign the can for you.
Wow. Cocky.
Maybe I'll put a little mustache hair in there.
Shit, fuck.
I like it.
Well, that's better or worse. See, look at Lord's glistening right now.
You went in for it.
It's like light is brighter. Your oranges.
He gets home and Leah's like, Jesus Christ, smells like Bigfoot's dick in here.
It smells like Doug's face.
But I'm horny still. But I'm more horny. Somehow.
I don't know what's happening.
Oh, jeez. That's a good product.
And that's when you cut to the camera and say, Doug's mustache wax.
Hey,
that's
I'm
the
Doug.
commercial.
No, I'm Doug.
60% of the time it works. Every time.
Love it. Well, I think it's time to get out of here.
All right.
End on a strong note, and that's
Buy it, you assholes.
we don't have it on our store yet, but we will real soon. Hopefully by this time this
Also,
launches.
real quick on the live, we have new shirts out too in the store.
Go get them.
Go get them.
Very cool. All right. Sorry for everybody at normal podcast land. The end of this podcast, you're just like, what's happening in the world? And sorry about that, but we appreciate you tuning in. Thank you, everybody that joined us on the live. And we will see you soon. Good luck for whatever season you have left. Go find some sheds. Thanks for the support.
Thank you guys.
We love
really
you.
appreciate you.
You know what to do. Go shoot your bow. We love you guys. And now we got to awkwardly end this live. Unless, Cameron, you got an end button over there. Maybe. I'll help you.
And
Figure it out.
Find one. Right there. Stop. Sorry.